Hey guys, Sharpend here. In this video I'm going to show you how to make cinematic bass plucks that sound something like this. So for this video I'm going to show you how to make this sound in both Serum and Massive X. So let's start with Serum. First of all we have this pattern right here. And I'm going to start by taking a saw wave and taking it down an octave. And adding two voices of unison. You don't want it to be too detuned. And we can also reduce the blend. And then you want to low pass it using a low pass filter that's pretty close, so something like 18 or 24. And you want to increase the drive by a bit and add some resonance. Something like this. And then you want to add some pink noise. I'm going to filter it. And then you want to remove the sustain to create sort of like a long pluck envelope, so a long decay. And you want to change its curve to be something like this. And then you want to go into the effects section and add some distortion. Something like this, and some flanging. You want the rate to be pretty slow. And the depth to be not too high. And then you can mix it a tiny bit in at like 30%. Same thing for chorus. You want to open up the low pass filter, set the depth to not be too high. And again, mix it a tiny bit in. And then we can use OTT to bring it back. Now it's a lot bigger and sharper in its attack, so we can increase the attack by a bit. And we're going to filter it back again. That way we get a sound that's a bit bigger and more compressed without adding too much high frequencies. And that's pretty much it for Serum. Now let's create this sound in Massive X. So you want to go ahead and add one voice. And also turn it down an octave. Now let's go and do the same thing for our volume envelope. No sustain, long attack, but we want to change the curve. So we're going to drag its shape to the left. Something like this. And now we're going to use the Blue Monarch low pass filter. We're going to increase the gain all the way, add some resonance. And we're going to also add some feedback. And then you can also add a slow LFO that's going to slightly modulate our cutoff. And now we're going to add some chorus. You don't want the distance to be too large so that it doesn't sound way too roomy. And again, the mixture should be pretty low. Same thing for a flanger, mix should be pretty low, the amount as well. And the rate should be really slow as well. And you can mess with the different modes here, like maybe wide and bass. Just see which setting works best for you. And we're going to add some distortion. Let's reduce the mix. Something like this. And now we're going to add an EQ. And in the EQ we're going to increase the low gain by a bit. So we get this bass sound that's full of bass. And then you can use the high gain to introduce a second low pass filter. Something like this, and we can again add some pink noise. It's already routed to our filter. And that's pretty much it for our massive synth. And the main part that makes this sound so cinematic is the effects. So here we have a mixer track, and we're sending it to another mixer track, which has a bunch of effects. So we'll go one by one. First of all is Replica, which is a delay plugin. I've set it to ping pong mode, and it's on dotted eighth notes. The feedback is pretty high, so you get a lot of repeating notes. And then we have Phases, which is a phaser plugin. Basically, you want to add a phaser that's really slow at its rate. This is what makes this sound so interesting. The phasing just makes it travel all over the place, and it sounds really unique. And then there's an EQ to boost the mids, because these frequencies get affected by the phaser in a way that's more tonal than, for example, the very high frequencies or the very low frequencies. And then we're adding some distortion so we can hear the phasing effect a bit more. It's quite a lot of distortion, and that's important. And then I'm adding Filter Jam, which is a very unique plugin. Basically, it acts like a bunch of filters all together. All I've done is just remove the resonance knob, and I've just tweaked with the settings here until I found something that sounds good. So as you can hear, thanks to the phasing, we get sort of like a moving sound that's also playing notes that weren't in our MIDI file, and that's the cool thing about it. And then I'm just high passing it so that it doesn't get in the way of our bass sound. And I'm adding some reverb in the end to make it wider, and so we can separate it when we're listening to the bass part and to the phaser part. And now let's hear how this sounds on Serum. And then what you want to do is to just mix those in, maybe 100% dry on the bass and 100% on the phaser section. But maybe you want to remove some of the volume from your main sound, from the dry sound. Just see how it works for you, and then you should get really interesting cinematic bass plucks like this one. And that is pretty much it. If you found this tutorial helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below what subject you want me to cover up next time.